Well, welcome back to Voice Advisor. And as a reminder, this is a video that is going to illustrate an evidence-based practice or explain an evidence-based practice that helps to facilitate practice and generalization of learned social skills. Affiliated with the Voice app, which of course was created to help students understand and learn the basic elements of social deficits or social skills to address their social deficits. So today we're going to focus in on something called a social narrative. And we're going to give a review. There'll be an implementation guide that goes along with this. There'll be a video illustration that tries to illustrate the implementation steps, and of course added resources all on the Voice Advisor site. So let's get started. What is a social narrative? Well, in a way, a social narrative is what it says in the title. Basically, it's a story. It's presented in a way that facilitates and illustrates and identifies a situation that comes up within an area of social skills, a targeted social skill, and tries to maneuver through images, through language, through terms, what a student should be doing. And so, as an example here, with an individual when I'm upset, it illustrates what the child should be doing when they're upset. And so in this instance, of course, we're using some icons, some graphics, but we could use real images or anything in between to help facilitate understanding that goes along with the actual text. Now, there are a series of steps that are used to facilitate the implementation of a social narrative. We're going to go over these steps, and there's basically 10. And there's, of course, very practical steps, and some are very specific to the unique nature of what a social narrative is all about. So let's get started. Number one is we're going to identify the area. Of course, right? We're going to identify what needs to be replaced in a very proactive manner because, of course, the social narrative is trying to facilitate an understanding that the child then can practice and generalize into the real world environment. So at first, we need to identify to be able to then implement in respect to that social skill deficit. Number two, we're going to define what we're trying to address in very measurable terms. Makes sense, right? I mean, if we don't know what we're actually trying to do, how can we measure it to determine if we actually have success? Not only for ourselves, but for the child that we're working with. So of course, we're going to identify it and define it in very measurable terms. The third step we're going to do is we're going to collect baseline data. We want to basically understand what's occurring within that deficit, what's occurring within the ability of the child, both the challenges as well as the strengths. And so to be able to have that in a very black and white baseline data component to be able to then get started with our formal implementation. Number four is we're going to also clarify to ourselves and to the student what mastery means. So when I achieve success, what does that actually look like? And so we're going to identify that within the social skill, of course, and within the individual, and also aspects of the setting. So all those are contextual components that we need to consider with the idea of mastery. Number five now, of course, this is the heart of it, writing a social narrative. And so there's several different steps here and several different components, and we're all going to bring it under the number five, so to speak, under the implementation. So first of all, we're going to make sure that there's a level of comprehension. We're going to determine vocabulary that the child, it's relevant to the social skill, but they also understand. So we're going to develop in that way. And the big thing here is we're going to use first-person language because, of course, we want the individual to be able to identify and understand exactly what they need to be doing within this social narrative. Number five, again, we're going to support this, as we already mentioned, with visuals. Why? Well, visuals themselves are very, very effective in illustrating, but also in terms of comprehension and understanding for individuals, particularly individuals with disabilities, and particularly individuals with disabilities that tend to have social deficits. Visual supports are key. And again, the visual supports can be images, they could be cartoons, but they could also be pictures of that student in the actual setting we're trying to practice and generalize. And number five, we're going to write the social narrative. So again, this is our third part of number five. And here, there's key elements. So we already mentioned about the fact that we're using the right vocabulary and comprehension. But here, we're going to be very descriptive on what is actually going on. We're going to offer it in a perspective that the student would understand and be able to apply. We're going to be very directive or explicit so the individual knows exactly what's expected of them. And finally, we're going to affirm when the individual is doing what's necessary and appropriate. And as a package, then the individual will have a better understanding of that success through that narrative. So of course, now we're going to introduce the narrative. And in introducing the narrative, we're going to make sure that the child is reading it. We're going to repeat it multiple times. They're understanding it, and they have a good familiarity of what's expected. And remember, this is not a huge set of paragraphs. This is fairly specific, a series of sentences with the visuals to go along with it. Number 7, we're going to practice, practice, and practice. So they've read it. We're going to review the social narrative. We're going to practice specific to the application and where and when, and we're going to apply it to the social situation. Number 8, we're going to collect data. Back to that baseline data. Number 3, we're going to collect additional data to determine are we mastering it? Are we mastering it at the level that we need to within the demands of the situation in the real situation? So are they able to apply it within the classroom, within the hallway, and are they able to do it at a level of generalization to the demands of whatever that setting be within the classroom, hallway, cafeteria, etc. Then we're going to seek to generalize it. And when we seek to generalize it, we want to generalize it to a point that they are not only showing capacity, but we can then fade it, the social narrative use, that is, from the need, from the intervention, from the application for the individual, and so they're doing it independently, that is the social skill. And number 10, we're going to continue with maintenance. We may need to prompt, we may need to remind, they may need to check in every now and then. It may be more relevant when it comes to now we want to go across settings. So we've done something in the classroom, now we want to do it maybe in another classroom, or we've done something in the hallway and we now want to apply it into the cafeteria. Same skill, but different setting. So those are all key components. Those are the basic 10 steps, and of course those 10 steps are available in the implementation guide that's here in the Voice Advisor. We also have a series of web links for us to better understand information that we haven't created, but it's out there in the field. And of course we also have a video illustration of what this looks like in real practice. I hope you go and visit the Voice Advisor for all those resources and come back for additional evidence-based practices that facilitate the practice and generalization of learned social skills, particularly the social skills we've addressed in the Voice app. Thank you.